In all our lives of covering weird stories, myths, facts, and anything that sparks your curiosity, we have never told a story that is as surreal as this one. This story has elements of time travel and impossibilities that could make you jaw-dropped. But before we get into the MC of today's story, let's take a small detour to the Brazilian Amazon rainforest, across the states of Pará and Mato Grosso. This is where the Kayapo people lived as happy people. They are one of the many tribes of the great Bep-Kororoti nation, which translates to people from the water source. These people were normally nomads who lived off hunting and fishing. Everything was going well for the people until one night. The Kayapo people heard some strange sounds coming from Serra Pukatoti, a mountain that already caused distrust and fear to the natives because it was always covered in fog, and sometimes they could hear mysterious noises, followed by lightning. This was way before any form of modern civilization, so mostly any natural changes in any way were seen as an act of God. But this night, the noise was different and more frightening, like nothing they had ever heard. And to top it off, they saw something descending from the sky and landed in the same mysterious mountain of Serra Pukatoti. Some people described what they saw as a large, noisy star, others as a flying boat, and others as a spherical shape, which many would come to say is a classic UFO ship. Either way, one thing was certain: it was something they'd never seen before. They couldn't go that night, but by morning, the bravest soldiers had gone to look for signs of the object. As they climbed the mountain, they could smell something very strange. And suddenly, through the clouds, they saw a giant being with a strange body. The being was all white from head to toe and had a single eye that stuck out of its body. The being was very huge, like a giant. The being also carried a silver rod that shined from the end, and by touching trees and rocks with the rod, he could make them disappear. This was already scary to the soldiers, but the tribe's fighters couldn't act scared, so they chose to attack the being. But every form of attack didn't work, because the being easily repelled them back. With a touch of the being's baton, fighters were made to sleep like they were hit with tranquilizers. The warriors ran away when they realized they couldn't win. The natives could not tell what this creature was. All they saw was something in a suit made of straw, which according to their folklore looked like this. That place where the event happened would come to be known as the Forbidden Mountain, and after that, no one would go there. Even till today, no one can go there. The locals did that as a quarantine zone for the huge, unexplainable, powerful being, hoping to keep the people safe by keeping them away from there. And that's how that chapter was closed. But the legend doesn't end there. One afternoon, some young people went to a lake to bathe and saw someone already in the water. A foreigner who was totally different from them. The foreigner was a man. But he wasn't like the mountain giant they heard about earlier. This foreigner was beautiful, had fair white skin, tall, slim, and muscular, and he was taking his bath in the river completely nude. The foreigner saw the natives as well, but he didn't seem to mind that they were there. He just kept taking his bath. Somehow, words traveled fast, and in a twinkle, soldiers were present while the man was still bathing. The soldiers naturally had orders to attack foreigners of any sort, which was normal back then for all tribes of different locations. So, as long as you were not part of the tribe, you were considered a foreigner, and with respect to that instruction, wanted to attack this man. They went closer to look at him and tried to talk to him, asking him questions, and guess what? He replied. He took it further by communicating with them in their language, and they could understand each other very well. The foreigner was very friendly and said that he was called Bep-Kororoti in their language, or Starborn, or Man of Stars, and that he had arrived from heaven and was the one who was attacked by them on the mountain. The soldiers were surprised and were like, "No, we attacked a monster, not you." He laughed and said that it was him and that he was wearing a suit to protect himself from the world. They still didn't believe him because the difference was huge. Bep-Kororoti could tell they were in disbelief and told them to go to the riverbank and they would find his suit. They checked and confirmed it was the same suit. Bep-Kororoti explained that his suit is called Bo, and it was used to navigate the stars. He talked about these vines of the stars and how he was from there. His staff that made people pass out like they were drunk was called Cob, and it was very powerful. It could break mountains and earth with sunlight, which is why the people today called it Thundering Barbuna. But it was not these amazing things that made the natives welcome him. It was the way he spoke to them, the calmness. Speaking to him made you feel comfortable, like you could tell him what you did last summer, and not wait for a slasher to tell the world. Everyone in the tribe loved him to the point that he was asked to live with the natives in the village, which he did for a long time. He helped the natives live better in social ways, did things even better than the natives themselves, and shared his wisdom that left the natives in awe. The natives said that he was one of the best at learning archery and hunting, even better than the best warriors they had. He taught them how to make better spears and bows, and changed the structure of the tribe. He made the village round with the chief's house in the middle and stopped them from being nomads. He also set up a tribe council where the members would choose leaders based on how skilled they were. He developed a type of government system where there were more people, members of the tribe, helping the chief to make important decisions, just like we have now. And all these changes made the natives prosperous. It was only a matter of time before he rose to become the leader of this tribe and its best warrior. His influence was so great that he is still talked about from generation to generation. Bep Noi, the advisor for the Cuban Crane Cane Group in Gorotire, Pará, Brazil, still talks actively of the legend and says that Bep-Kororoti is the only real hero and leader of the Kayapo. Bep-Kororoti fell in love with a woman from the tribe and chose to marry her. They had a daughter named Cob and a son together and lived in the tribe for a long time. His daughter got married and had a son of her own, and they all lived in the village happily. Everything was looking great until it was not. Bep-Kororoti's behavior started to change, and not in a good way. It was very obvious to everyone in the tribe, as he started to cause problems for the tribe almost every day. One day, while he was hunting, he got into a fight with his friends and just ran off into the bush. Then later, for no reasonable reason recorded, he painted his entire family in black and then left them in their home. Then he put on the dangerous suit, the bow, and his kop, the staff he was with, and started shooting out rays that hurt and blinded people. And sometimes, he would just challenge the group. All these were behaviors that shocked the natives. Even today, no one knows what made him act that way or what happened. It was also strange. It was like he was suffering from a mental breakdown. The tribe thought he had gone mad and tried to dominate him by force. However, they knew how strong Bep-Kororoti was and bothered not to even try. Those who dared to attack would immediately pass out just by touching his clothes. There was only one thing to do: let him go. They somehow pushed him to the Pukatoti mountain. Bep-Kororoti climbed the Serra Pukatoti, and almost immediately, thunder and lightning were heard that shook the whole region. A mysterious light from the sky reached his wife and son, and they disappeared on the spot. His flying spherical boat also went up to the sky, covered in smoke and lightning, and then disappeared into the clouds. The last person to ascend was Bep-Kororoti. He went into space with a huge, violent bang, surrounded by a cloud of smoke and noise. The effect was felt all over the world. The only person who didn't disappear from his family was his daughter, Neopoti. She was pregnant during this event, but that wasn't the reason she didn't leave. During the ascension, she was told by her father Bep-Kororoti to stay behind and help the tribe, should they ever need his help. As if Bep-Kororoti knew his absence would bring problems, it was only a matter of time before something terrible happened. Bep-Kororoti's absence was immediately felt all over the village, and there was total hardship. All the trees and plants died. Every animal ran away from the region because the explosion of the flying boat was too loud that it scared them off. This led to disease and famine that ravaged the tribe. There wasn't enough food in the area. The natives had a hard time, and before they knew it, started dying out. To save the tribe, her son, and her family from dying of hunger, Neopodi decided she had to do something. So she took her son, husband, and herself to the same waterfall, where her father first landed, and did the something her father did when they thought he was going insane. She painted them all black, stayed by a tree, and did a ritual that let her call her father with her mind. But nothing happened. At first. Then a flying boat reappeared above the tribe. Bep was back with his wife and son, along with strange food, seeds, and medicine that no one in the tribe had ever seen before. He healed everyone who was sick and showed them how to plant those seeds so that the famine would never happen again. He also apologized to the natives for setting fire to the forest years before when he left. At the request of Bep-Kororoti, the indigenous people were taken to Serra Pukatoti, where Bep built them stone houses that the natives thought were made by God, or the Anunnaki. With food and housing, they no longer had to be nomads and could live a good life. The tribe lived in prosperity and changed their name to Kayapo in respect to Bep-Kororoti. He also shared a very important message to the locals, which was that they should plant fruit and vegetable seeds every year so that no one in the area ever goes hungry again. After he stayed with them for a long time, he went back to space with his family. Only Neopodi stayed on Earth with the natives. The important message shared is still practiced today. To this day, the tribe members perform Thanksgiving ceremonies wearing clothes made of straw and using an old shotgun to use as the kop, the thundering barbuna, used by Bep-Kororoti. Bep-Kororoti was a master, a messiah, a warrior, and many more things to these people. He was and is their god. He taught them things that were just too advanced for their lifetime. The Bep-Kororoti story is still taught in schools in these small villages in the Amazon rainforest. During rituals, the locals dress in clothes that represent the clothes that Bep-Kororoti wore when he first came to Earth and when he left for space again. These clothes are sacred to the natives. People sometimes say that he is a mystery Anunnaki. We've heard stories of Anunnaki and their influence on various cultures all over the Earth. The Anunnaki may have left Earth a long time ago, but they kept in touch with some groups on Earth, which many believe Bep-Kororoti could be one. It's also possible that Bep-Kororoti was also from the future because he knew a lot of things that were not invented yet. The system of government he introduced sounded like something we practice now. He was the source of wisdom behind the implementation of agriculture in the Amazon rainforest. He was also a source of construction and architectural wonder by using stones to build houses that didn't exist at that time. All of the myths, facts, and religious beliefs that the Kayapo still share are based on Bep-Kororoti's connection with space and the universe. Now, you might think all this is just a good bedtime story, but I am sorry to burst your bubble, because there are elements of truth in it that actually happened. The straw clothes described by basically everybody who knows the story remarkably look similar to the clothes worn by astronauts. The one eye described when he was a giant could be the helmet, the white skin could be the color of the suit, and lastly, any knowledge from an astronaut, even for us right now watching this video, will be a bit superior, not to talk of natives that were very secluded in their way of life. One thing that struck us was the way they described him without his suit, like a normal, very handsome white man. To prove our point, in 1969, two 15-year-olds went to Rio de Janeiro and saw a picture of Neil Armstrong, and they immediately thought it was Bep-Kororoti. People in primitive tribes like to copy the things and ways of acting of people from other societies, especially those that are more advanced technologically. And this is still going on now. It's so effective that we gave it a name. Social engineering. In 1947, Dr. Herbert Baldus, an anthropologist, went to see an Indian group in the middle of Brazil. The little girl he saw was an example of this. She had black drawings on her face and red lipstick on it, making her look like a westernized lady. And every story of the Bep-Kororoti being a god comes from one source. There are no cross-references between people and tribes that collaborate with the story. So basically, we are hanging on a trust me bro source, which reduces the authenticity of the event. But People say that Bep-Kororoti came to Earth in 1884, which is 80 years before people started going to space in the 1960s. 10 years before people went to space for the first time, in 1952, the Kayapo started ceremonies in which people dressed as astronauts would dance in honor of Bep-Kororoti. So it becomes an old-age question of who came first, the chicken or the egg. So, which is it? Is Bep just an astronaut who crash-landed, or is he an actual Anunnaki god, or an alien who descended from the stars to change the lives of the Kayapo people forever? Let us know in the comments section. But we will leave you with a word from the Kayapo people that supports their beliefs. Heaven is the land of the people who live above, and the earth is in the sky of the people who live below.